to the Horror Virgin, everybody. Just taking this shit in my hands and I'm going with it.
It's been 40 minutes and Clint hasn't fucking started the podcast. This is not a therapy session, Clint. I'm not billing you hourly.
And then I realized
go.
I don't need a man to start my podcast.
Damn.
So welcome to the Horror Virgin, everybody.
Clint, you have to start it first. Clint, you have to start it.
What's happening now? Oh my God! I'm losing all my power.
I'm Clint.
I'm the Virgin Todd.
Oh, I'm Jennifer.
We have had way too much caffeine. This is the day we really have talked for 45 minutes, and it is completely unusable.
And it's not about The Last Jedi this time.
No, it's about some heavy relation shit.
Woo, yeah.
And it wasn't Todd this time. We actually
honestly,
everybody else.
My life is really great right now.
Hey, that's fantastic.
I mean,
you
Todd.
have no one. That's why it's great.
That's extremely true and hurtful.
I'm sorry.
True and hurtful. I have someone, but no one I can have sex with, and
You
no
know,
one that's not like
who else
family.
is alone and doesn't have anybody to have sex with? Jane Doe.
Thank you.
Just got
Thank
done
you, God, for
watching.
bringing it back on topic.
Yeah.
So we've got to talk before we get into the autopsy of Jane Doe, which we're going to talk about this time. We are going to do another mug giveaway.
Yeah, we got some mugs.
We've got a mug to give away to all the people who have left reviews. Yeah, we're going to give one mug away. Jen's got the...
What kind of mug is this, Todd?
Oh, my God. It's the Horror Virgin mug that you guys have seen on social. Got the text
You've seen
logo
it on
one
social
side.
media
It's got
if you are following us. And if you're not,
then
what's
what are you
wrong?
even doing?
What the fuck is wrong
So
with
we
you?
have everyone who's left a review, a text review. Not just a rating, but also a text review because it captures their name.
I'll take 3 words. I mean, it doesn't have to be a paragraph.
Jen's
I
the
love
best.
you.
Yes,
Yeah,
Jen is awesome.
They probably should
Any variation.
just... All right, can you pull... All right, so we're going to pull a name out, and by we, I mean Jen. So if Jen does not pull your name out...
of a mug.
Yeah, pull the name out the mug.
I pull my name out the mug.
How many names we got? It looks like we got a lot of names in there.
We do have a lot of names.
We got up to 50
it's
reviews.
raining names.
Boom.
Hallelujah, it's raining names.
God, this is going to be
I've had a lot of
hell of
Red
an
Bull.
episode.
Can we
Too
wrap
much-
this up? I got to
way
drive
too
to
much
Asheville tonight.
caffeine
Guys,
up
can
in
we
this
wrap this
bitch.
up? I got to drive to Asheville.
All right, I'm pulling a name out of a mug.
Yeah. All right, what is that name, Jen?
That name is Randall H. Randall, you are the winner of a Horror Virgin mug.
So, Randall, we will get your reach out to us on social. We'll get your information and we'll mail it to you. We actually mailed one.
Shout out to Daniel.
Yeah, shout out to Daniel who won one last time we did this, and we sent him one.
Are we throwing in a free bottle of lube?
They're not gonna fuck
In
the
case
mug.
they put their
In
dick in
case
the
they
mug.
Put your dick in the mug, girl.
Although
Wait,
these
girl.
mugs
Hang
have
on.
a kind of a wide girth, so if you have to get lube for that,
Not
think
the
you have
handle.
bigger problems than
The
not
handle.
fitting your
Not
dick
the
in
handle
that
at
mug.
all.
What are
Oh.
we talking about
You
right
just
now?
like stick it on.
The handle's a perfect size. So, Autopsy of Jane Doe.
It was real. Oh, guys, if you want to win a mug, leave us a rating
Yes.
and review. You'll automatically be entered, and then
Hey, and if you have already left us a review, we are keeping your name in that mug, so you might still win. Keep listening.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right, cool. Let's get into whatever the fuck. This movie was so bad. I hated this movie
was
so
I love
bad.
this movie.
I think you hated it because it was scary.
I think you hated it because it was scary
I'll
too.
say this: it was very scary, and I will be very honest. In fact, you took a picture of me and put it up
I
on
did,
social.
too.
But like, it was very
One was
scary.
just for me.
I hated it, but it was also a bad movie. There
No,
have been
disagree.
movies that we've watched. That's fine. You can disagree and be wrong. I will agree with myself and be right. But this movie was a bag of shit left on someone's door, lit on fire.
You know what? Normally it's black and white for me when we watch these movies. This one is very gray. I'm just go back and forth with it. Like parts of it were genuinely creepy. I love the atmosphere. I love the 2 actors.
Yeah.
But it
3.
there were 3. Oh, I forgot the
You
girlfriend.
mean Bobo Rip Torn and Jason Bateman?
Short Jason.
Oh, for
Bateman.
fuck's sake.
This was before he turned into Teen Wolf.
It's
And Box?
Teen Wolf 2, yeah.
to be fair,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fat Emil Hirsch.
Yeah.
And
He is-
fat Brian Cox.
Well, Brian Cox has
just
always
Brian
been
Cox.
fat. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think they're just normal-sized people living their lives,
Yeah.
eating what they want. Maybe
Sure.
they exercise a little bit.
Someone's real sensitive about weight today. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to leave that one alone.
I haven't seen Emil Hirsch in a long time. Do you know what the last thing was? That
The
he
last
did?
thing I saw him in was Into the Wild, but
That
a
was
long
like
time
10
ago.
years ago.
I'm sure he's been in
something
other
like that.
stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
If only there
Girl
was
Next
some
Door.
website.
Into
that
the
would tell
Wild's a
us stuff.
horrible
you,
fucking
buddy.
movie. Anyone,
Yeah.
It's so bad. Into the Wild's about a rich kid who's like, I'm going to go into the woods. And then he doesn't know how to go into the woods. So he eats some shit he's not supposed to eat and then dies.
I agree.
Why do people like that fucking book and movie?
Right.
It's about a fucking idiot who went into the fucking woods, ate some fucking shit. I fucking hate my fucking so bad.
You take it down to level 5.
I had a big
You're
Red
at
Bull
level
before this.
13 right
real.
I had a
now.
big Red Bull.
This is the most aggro
We need this
podcast.
energy
That
for this movie. But I agree. I hate that movie.
You take it down. But I agree.
I hate every Sean Penn directed movie.
yeah.
Like he directed that movie.
That would be some Sean Penn shit.
I don't think there's anything that I like Sean Penn in.
Milk.
Oh yeah, I did like Milk.
So good.
Yeah. I'm here to recruit you.
Yeah.
I've used that joke so many times with you, and you never get it.
You know why?
Why?
Because you don't sound like a gay man when you say it.
Yeah, over text.
This movie.
I disagree. And okay, before we go any further into this, I just want to say we are going to spoil this movie.
Yes.
And I love this movie.
Surely
and I
they know
love
that
the
by
twist. And I love something that happens towards the end.
What twist?
Do not listen if you haven't. I mean, we're awesome, so listen anyways. But, I mean, don't rob yourself of
Honestly,
that.
I'll just say this. Don't watch the movie, listen to the podcast, because the movie's not fucking worth watching.
No, the movie is fucking
It's a
amazing. And I'm
bag of
going to
dog shit.
explain
I think
why
it's worth
to
watching.
you.
I would like to watch it again.
Yeah, it's good.
I feel like there were things that you're going to have to explain to me. But
Yeah.
I had never
Like the
seen this
patriarchy.
movie, for the record. This is just a movie that I was one of the few that I hadn't seen, and Jen just kept,
Yeah,
like,
because
like,
it's
we have to
so
watch
good.
this movie. I'm like,
So,
cool.
I listened to Faculty of Horror, which is one of my favorite
They're great.
podcasts ever.
Yep.
They are fantastic. And like about a year ago, they had an episode and they were like, yeah, and it's this new trend in secret witch movies. And they were like, and if you know what we're talking about, you know.
I'm sorry,
And-
secret witch movies?
yeah, like all of a sudden it's
Where it's
about
not
a witch.
advertised as a witch movie, but it
Then
it ends
becomes
up
a witch
becoming
movie.
a witch
So they were
movie.
talking about this movie.
Like
This is not a
Hereditary.
secret witch movie.
Hereditary is one of those movies. Spoiler.
Yeah, I agree.
This is so bad.
Okay, but so I listened to that podcast and I was like, but what is this secret witch movie? And they wouldn't tell us. And so, like,
Because it's a secret, Jen.
exactly. And I'm glad they didn't, because I watched this movie and that word came on the screen and I was like, yes, I figured it out. I know what the secret witch movie is. And then I loved the movie
Or you
even
accidentally
more.
stumbled on it.
Can we
I
just
got some feelings about this shit.
I know you do. Can we just get into the movie so we can talk about
I'm
how bad
telling
it
you
is?
about my fun story about this movie. Yeah, it was awesome.
Is it over?
The podcast is.
Oh.
Damn.
Did you write greatest movie ever on
I
the board?
did,
Well,
because
at
I
least you-
love this movie.
At least you didn't write "fuck you, Todd" on the board this week.
That's true.
All right.
I knew I forgot to do something.
All right. So let's talk about the movie. What was that?
She's fixing her hair.
It's a mystery.
Is it a
mystery.
secret witch
it's
mystery?
A secret mystery. And fuck you, Todd.
Damn.
Sorry.
Damn.
Stood up, guys.
This
She stood up.
has
Dibs.
escalated
Hey.
quickly. Where does it start, Jen?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I knew you motherfuckers weren't going to remember the order of this movie.
I do not.
So I
Oh,
started
it
writing
opens,
down
I remember
the
it opens at a
synopsis.
crime scene,
Yeah.
and a lot of things are going
They started
on.
at a crime scene,
Right.
and this guy that I always think, Cop Kruger, he looks like Freddy Krueger. to
He
me.
does not at all. But
I think he
but
does.
Continue.
You think he looks
Listener-
like Freddy
He
Krueger?
looks
I think he
nothing
looks like
Freddy
Robert
Krueger.
Englund.
No, he doesn't.
You mean the teacher from Urban Legend?
Oh, yeah. So we started a crime scene.
Right.
Yeah, we
And
did.
there's like dead bodies everywhere.
As I like horror movies to
Gruesome.
open. Yeah.
And this is when Todd realized what the day was going to be like.
I
This
would
was
argue it would.
horrible.
I would argue it would always be better if I see what happens instead of just the aftermath of what happens.
Disagree on this one, though.
Because it's a mystery movie. Is that why?
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
also think that it's better if the explanation for why things happen aren't like, well, we'll get to it. Let's just get into it. So, yeah, we're at
Can
the
we
house.
just go through this fucking movie, Todd?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we're at the crime scene. They talk about how it looks like they were trying to break out of the house
Yeah, they were trying
instead
to
of
get away.
break in.
Yes.
Right.
And then they find in the basement, like buried in like the dirt basement or
Yeah.
root cellar.
The
they-
dirt basement.
Yeah. They have
Guys, this is
basements
the
that are
regular
dirt.
basement. But if you go down one more level, that's the dirt,
The dirt basement, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next level cardiology dungeon.
That's Dr. Giggles.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. All right.
So sticking out of this, they've dug up this body
Yes.
of a woman.
Immaculate body. And I don't mean sexy because she's dead. I mean just like it's very clean, which it
Yes.
plays a part.
Yes.
Also, would have been super hot if she was alive.
Yeah. Well, she was alive. The actress was alive. Maybe she was alive the whole time.
I'm just waiting for
She's
these.
been alive for 10 years.
She can get it for 10 years.
Oh, she could have. If she was alive. I'm not into dead chicks. I want to make it clear that people know I'm not into dead chicks.
Currently. Okay, so then we cut to the coroner dungeon.
Yes. Which
and-
is in the basement of their house.
Right. It's a
Not that we ever really go up
Yeah.
there, but
we have
yeah.
a father and son.
yes, a family-owned coroner's.
Can I?
company.
So that's Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch, right?
Yes.
But it would have been better Jason Bateman, Rip Torn. I'm just saying it.
I don't know who this Rip Torn is. I always think it's like Rip Van Winkle or something.
Yeah,
I've
you
never
think
heard
the
that
actor
phrase
Rip
before.
Torn is the
I don't know
character
who
Rip
this
Van
is.
Winkle
I
who
do.
doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't know that Rip Torn exists.
You never watched Larry Sanders, did you?
Rip
No.
Torn's been oh
He's
my.
been dead
been
for
dead
10
for a
years.
little while.
Have we ever seen Larry Sanders and Rip Torn and Rip Van Winkle in the same room?
Well, not Rip Van Winkle, but Larry Sanders. And yes, we have seen Rip
Oh, we
Torn.
have?
Yeah,
Okay.
Rip Torn's still alive.
I was just looking that up because I doubted myself. Is
He's
he
old
dead
as
or
shit.
alive?
While you're looking
I
it
don't
up, let me
think-
tell,
All right, I'll
let me
look
tell
it
my
up. You
favorite
He
Rip
guys-
might
Torn
be
story.
alive, but I think he's been asleep for 100 years.
Let me tell my favorite Rip Torn story.
Oh.
And well, let's just say this: cops go to a bank that is currently being robbed, or the alarms are going off at least. They go into the front door of the bank. Rip Torn is laying in the middle of the floor. He had broken into the bank drunk because he thought it was his house, and they did not arrest him.
Oh,
They just took him back to his house.
just patted him on the head and like took
no,
his
because
shoes off
he
and
didn't
tucked him
steal
in.
anything. He literally thought it was his house. So he broke a window, climbed through the window, passed out on the floor.
I mean, look.
Is he alive or not?
He's alive.
Goddamn
He's
right he
well into his 80s.
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's still alive. Guys, I get confused. His first name is Rip. R.I.P. So
I know.
Uh,
Rest in
Rip
pieces,
Torn.
Rip.
yeah. But on the Larry Sanders show,
Oh, my.
his character was sober. And once a season, he would go on this drinking bender. And he would always end up on the Seinfeld set next door.
Yeah.
So Jerry would come over and be like, he's on our couch again. And they would like go to the living room of Seinfeld. And he's just like fucking screaming, just rage screaming.
He's a wandering drunk.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
As was I. Long time ago.
Okay, can we get into this movie? What are we talking about right now?
So we go to the family coroner's office where
Right.
Emile Hirsch, Emile Hirsch and Brian Cox are like just power autopsying through some bodies. You know, they're getting
Yeah.
their work done.
Typical
And then,
Friday night.
yeah, they got like what Springsteen or something playing, some fun music.
They got some music playing on the radio.
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't remember.
ZZ Top.
What does these stuff sound like, Clint?
I've heard about the rock from some time ago.
I'm out.
That's
Nice.
what ZZ Top sounds like.
Late at night, I fucking asked me where I've been.
Just count your stars, I'm home again. Wow! Yeah, damn
Okay,
right.
I just shit my pants. Thank you
Damn
for
right.
that.
Oh yeah. Mission accomplished.
I like how you sounded sexually excited about the prospect of him shitting his pants. I'm gonna shit my pants.
Prospect.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, so they are autopsying. Then they're done for the day, and Emile Hirsch's girlfriend is wandering around the coroner's place.
Right, and Brian Cox leaves the room, leaves the autopsy room to go probably clean up, honestly, because he's done for the day.
Right,
Makes
yeah.
complete sense, right? And then the girlfriend's like, "Oh, can I see a dead body?"
Yeah.
Is that how she sounded? That's what she
No, that's not what
That's what she sounded like, right?
No.
She
Sounded.
She
I think
seemed
what
She
I think
sounded
what
like
happened.
a rational person
very
who's curious
sexually
about
interested in
something.
seeing
Yeah,
a
she
dead
definitely
body.
got wet.
interested.
Like to the point where I thought there was going to be a plot twist with who she was, and then it turns
Oh.
out
Yeah.
there was no plot twist.
Me
She
too.
Yeah.
And they missed
was
an opportunity
fascinated
Like
because
by
she
it's a
that
shitty
secretly
movie.
like hosts a My Favorite Murder podcast or something,
yeah.
and that's why she's curious.
Honestly, if that
And
was
while
Karen
they're-
Kilgareth, she could have got it.
Yeah. So there's like a little bit of a they like tease her a little bit with like, oh, we'll let you see this person without
Yeah.
a face.
Oh, you want to see? Pick one of these doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then he
then-
shows her one. She's like, "I didn't want that one.
I didn't want that one.
I
I
wanted
wanted
the other one."
Mr. McFace gone.
But how did he know? Can I?
Mr. McGaunface. That's also where
Man without a face, Mel Gibson.
Mr. McGaunface also has a bell tied to his leg,
Yeah, he does because his face is gone.
and so does
I
the
thought
dad.
they all did.
I don't know
Nope.
if they all do. I think
Nope.
he's the only one.
Just him?
He's got like one bell.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe the other bell.
I
like
thought the bell thing was a good idea and
did
very
too.
effective later in the movie.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. It's
Sure.
and okay, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but as we were watching this, I was thinking, like, because they're all kind of like, "Yeah, you sure you want to see this?" And she's like, "I'm kind of nervous," and I was like, "Well, that's like our podcast." Like,
Oh.
Yeah. Except I'm the
Todd
girl, so
doesn't
let's
wanna
not.
see
Yeah.
anything. So then Dad kind of plays a trick on her and scares her a little bit.
Yeah.
But what we see is these bodies, and we see one lady with her eyes and her mouth sewn shut.
Yep.
And we see another one whose face has been shot out.
Literally shot out.
Yeah. And while they're talking about these bodies, they're talking about like what the actual cause of death is and how sometimes it's not exactly what you think it is.
Right, because the guy who had his face shot out actually died from something else, right?
Yes. Yeah. Poison, I think.
So they don't. She doesn't see the faceless man then.
Right.
And
but
then,
we know these two bodies exist.
Yes,
now.
that's
Right,
their
right,
way of
right,
introducing these two body characters that they do come back and we see
They
walking
do.
around.
Sometimes they
So-
do come back.
No, they don't. Stop.
They're right
that never
behind you,
happened.
Todd.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I need a bell. I'm gonna call you in the middle of the night and just
You
like ring
were
a bell.
very uncomfortable during this
Oh,
movie. Like
yeah.
Honestly,
to the point where we almost started like taking pictures of you.
No,
I
we
did. Take
did.
Oh,
pictures.
did you?
And
no,
she posted
to the
them,
point
yeah.
where like I was like, should we? I
She was
started
asking
to
if we
feel
need to stop it.
real guilty.
I mean, you should have because it's a bad, scary
Oh,
fucking
no.
movie. But honestly, up to that point, right? Because it wasn't scary. It was just autopsy. They didn't really show you any graphic stuff up to that point because they were done for the day. Brian
Yeah.
Cox was cleaning up and he was showing his girlfriend around the place. It wasn't
right,
a big
and they were
deal.
about to go to the movies.
Yeah. And then the cop comes in and brings in the Jane Doe body, right?
right.
And then she's just naked and hot. So I was like, I'm on board for this. It got some like late 70s Bush, but whatever. And then
we get like 30 minutes of an autopsy.
No,
no,
we
wait,
get the
wait.
conversation where
Yeah.
they're supposed to go to a movie,
Right.
and
Oh, right.
Emil
Emil
Hirsch
Hirsch and her boyfriend.
Just
And he says, "Come
Emil
back."
Hirsch and her girlfriend. Emil Hirsch is a man.
Look,
Emil
it's very
Hirsch and
confusing.
his
What
girlfriend.
happened out in that wild?
Listen, he's probably self-identifies as an attack helicopter sexually, so like I can call him whatever I want.
Let's
What's
just
an
drop the
attack
pronouns, guys.
helicopter?
Yeah, let's just drop
drop the
pronouns.
They are
pronouns,
Jen.
harmful.
They. Let's refer to everybody as they.
Yeah, they.
'Cause we just
they
don't.
Emil Hirsch.
Anywho,
This
is very
so he
confusing.
basically tells her, "Come back in a few hours.
Yes.
I'm going to help my dad."
And we figure out that the dad wants him to go into the family business, but he
Yes.
doesn't want to.
I don't want your dead lie.
Yeah. Eh.
Nailed it, guys. I booked it.
just
Did
like
you book it?
just like the beak.
I love that movie.
I'll say this.
Let us
I'd
randomly
give that
drop.
movie a 10.
A
A
10.
fucking 10.
Penny's dropping all the way down.
Can we just watch more people lose themselves?
I love that movie.
Me too. So anyway, girlfriend bones out. Emil Hirsch goes back to help dad.
Yeah, she's going to come back. They're going to go to a midnight movie. Yes.
Right.
And we
Or-
also find out that his mom is dead.
Right. And so Emil Hirsch goes back to the Cox. That's what I'm going to call him the whole time, guys.
The Cox.
The Cox.
He is
Oh,
now
yeah.
the Cox
He
because
goes
there's comedy
back
gold
in to
there
help
and
that
we're going to
Cox
find
out.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going to back that Cox up.
Okay.
Whatever, guys.
Jennifer, this is where you're going to come in handy.
Oh, yeah. Like with knowledge and
For
stuff.
once.
Yeah, there's
Since
so
the
much.
tone top.
There's so much shit that happens in this autopsy.
God, I'm going to be so mean in this episode. Yeah, okay, so what
There's so
how
much
am I
shit that
helping out?
happens in this autopsy. Can
Yeah.
you tell us what matters?
A
Like,
lot,
what were the
because a lot of
things
this
that really
doesn't matter except to make Todd like writhe around
It
in
was
misery.
gross.
It was
Like,
really gross.
Don't get me wrong, and I like stuff like that, but I'm with Todd. This movie's fucking gross.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's just
I
gross.
don't like a lot of gore, and I think that's intentional. I think it's supposed to be.
I didn't get my normal erection like I should have.
You know what? We're not going to bring that
Maybe it
into
was
the real world.
something. It was something about her being dead already. I don't know.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
like cut her skin open.
Ew.
Yeah. Okay, so what they're doing is they're looking at her. They're like doing the external exam. They're looking because from the outside they can't see anything different.
No,
you know.
well, they see
So they're, like,
peat, which is like a
under
thick
her-
kind
yeah.
of dirt, peat under her fingernails.
Yeah.
But other than that, she's
And they see that her
extremely
eyes
clean,
are
or gray.
are
Yeah,
gray.
she's got
But
gray
even
eyes.
then, like they had to open her eyes to see that. So from the outside, other than the fact that she's not alive, you can't tell anything is different.
Or is she alive?
Is she? I always think of that part in A Few Good Men. We're like, so no evidence of foul play. And he's like, other than the dead body.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
walks right
That's
into that
great.
every time.
That's great.
Probably.
What are you
my
going to arrest
favorite.
my
Cut
client
that.
with? Possession of a condiment?
That's probably
I
my
love
favorite
that
screenplay
movie.
of all time.
Where the fuck are we?
Okay, so they're examining the body.
Right.
They can't find anything. Then but they do find that her wrists and ankles are broken.
Yeah, and what was going on with her waist? There was something
Yeah,
going
then
on
it
with her
was
waist.
too tight because it was like you could do that with corset training, which apparently is a thing too.
Okay.
Yes, but that's actually a nod to that this body is
old.
spoilers, 200, 300 years old.
Right, and the
Right.
dirt under her fingers too.
Right.
They're like, I
Yes.
don't know where you would even find that anymore. Yeah, and it was
And then also the main incision, way too much blood.
oh yeah. Then they just cut her open. Oh no,
Right.
they open her mouth. They find out her tongue has been taken
Oh
out.
yeah, that was
Yep,
that was
and then
disgusting.
a fly flies out of her
Ew.
nose. Yeah, it's all gross.
Oh,
It's really gross.
Honestly,
Super,
this is
super
when
gross.
this is when I took the pillow and
Yeah.
put it in my lap and like stuck my head
started
down,
jerking
pulled
off.
my hat down real low.
Yeah.
If you want to see a picture, it's on Twitter and
Twitter,
Instagram.
yeah.
It was fucking. It wasn't scary at all.
It
Really.
was gross and it was really
gross. And
uncomfortable.
whoever's doing the Foley work for this stuff, crushing it with the
Yeah.
grossest sounds possible.
Because he takes like hedge clippers and like cuts her rib cage out.
Oh, my
and then,
God.
Okay,
That was
so
pretty cool.
Then they
Yeah.
start.
So she could give herself head?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, that's a Marilyn Manson joke. I thought it was funny, but fuck
the
you guys for
taking
not
the
like
ribs
yeah.
out?
The biggest rumor of 1999.
I know.
Men-
I know. If you graduated around the time we did.
No,
you
the
thought
other
Marilyn
biggest
Manson-
rumor was that he was the guy from the Wonder Years, right?
Yes, that was the other one.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
other
yeah.
one, the one about auto-filleting is my favorite.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying
See,
for years.
women take ribs out to make themselves skinnier, like Cher, and men take ribs out so they can.
If
give
I
themselves
could turn
head.
back
I love that song.
Yeah, I
You
love that.
sounded like you were trying to give yourself fellatio.
I was.
And then the next thing is that the cat happens, I think. So they
Oh,
hear
yeah, that was
a noise
pretty
in the
disturbing.
hallway.
But the
Yeah.
cat, the cat is used for fake jump scares throughout the beginning of the movie. Yes, you see the cat a few times.
The cat hisses at the witch.
Oh, there is a yes.
And
the
then
cat does.
the cat immediately dies.
Not immediate.
Well,
If you say immediate, it
in
means
the
it dies
cat's
immediately.
timeline of the movie. We don't see the
The
cat
next
do
time you see the
anything
cat,
else.
yes.
It's so they hear a sound in the air vent, and Emil
We're not
Hirsch.
even there yet. We'll
Yeah,
get
we
back
are.
to the cat.
Here we are. The cat came.
I mean,
back.
are we going to skip the whole autopsy because we've only talked about the beginning where we see the
Yeah, and then I think the cat thing happens.
cat hisses and then leaves the room.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I was talking about because I mean,
The cat hisses and leaves the room when the cop is still there. Then they
Yeah.
have the external
Yeah.
autopsy.
Yeah.
Then they hear the noise, and he goes to examine.
All right.
And the
I think you're
autopsy
right,
ta-
yeah.
the
I think I have it out of
autopsy-
order. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
the
fair. Sorry,
autopsy
sorry.
legit is a third of this movie.
Yes,
which
and that's
is
Yep.
so bad. Like, there literally not shit happens for the first 45 fucking minutes of this movie. Not.
I'm with
shit
Todd. I'm
happens.
sorry. It's a slow,
It is so
slow
painful
movie
to watch because it
Yes.
really
It is.
is just, hey, let's see if we can
Intentionally.
gross you out for 50 fucking minutes before any story happens. And then when the story happens, they're like, we better shoehorn in some exposition real quick.
They did
So
not
there's
have the
one
money.
fucking scene where they talk about why the shit happens, and it's very vague and stupid. And instead of having like actual facts, it's just them speculating on what it could have been. We don't know for sure if that's it. And then the movie ends.
I would argue
It's a
that there
bad
is
movie.
I normally wouldn't argue this. I definitely would argue there's
so
a
mad at
there's
me
a
right now.
better
I am-
there's a
no, I'm not
better
mad. I'm just waiting.
slightly more expensive movie in there somewhere.
Yep.
No.
I really thought there was going to be like
No.
at least an hour of them being haunted, and we need some more people in this movie so that they can be ripped to
We
shreds.
don't need any more people in this movie. Okay, they're
too much
about
dick
to,
in this movie,
they're-
Jen.
They're about to cut into her.
Yes.
And the cat dies. And we go and find the cat. The cat has been horribly injured somehow.
On the way to find the cat, that's when you see the first ghost-ish thing.
And not
in that
actually,
mirror.
Yeah, in
and
the
not
mirror.
actually
I
dead,
love that
right?
mirror.
Doesn't he break its neck
Yeah,
later?
yeah. Well, yeah.
The cat is injured.
Okay.
There's something wrong with the cat. The
It
cat
doesn't
is
really
in
show
pain.
it. Yeah, but
Then Brian Cox cannot figure out any way to save this cat.
Well,
so he
I mean,
just
it
kills the
looked like-
cat to put it out of its misery.
it looked
so
like the cat
is
was
no
cut
longer
open.
a problem.
Yeah, it looked like the cat was cut open, and there's probably no saving it. There was like looks between the two of them, like it's
'Cause
not
it was
gonna-
sad,
It
yeah.
was very sad. They were
It's-
not happy. Brian
were
Cox
not.
talks about when he gets back in the when the Cox comes back in the autopsy room. He talks about how it was like the last thing that tied the mother to him, because it was her cat or whatever. So he was really sad about it. It
Yeah.
wasn't like he was like, yes,
Nothing he
I get
can
to fucking
do,
kill
though.
this cat.
No,
he was
I
really sad
I don't think
about
he
it.
wanted to kill the cat.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
and then he immediately threw it in
He
the
threw it in the
incinerator.
incinerator
Yeah.
and then just walked off. He needed a couple of minutes and then he's fine.
Yep.
Going back to work. Yep.
He's a man.
That cat. Yeah.
That's because pets
That's
suck.
the fucking point of this movie.
What?
We'll get there.
Oh.
Yo, she's like, y'all gonna learn today.
little tease.
Okay, so then we go to the internal part of
Yeah,
the
that's when they start.
autopsy.
This is
And we start to hear thunder.
so gross. Or do we hear thunder?
Well, Clint kept asking.
No.
I did.
No. I'll say this.
Right.
We definitely do hear thunder, but
We do.
Okay.
But at the beginning, they were talking about sunshine. It's supposed to be another great day.
And
Yeah.
at the end, when the cop is there moving the body, the radio is playing the real radio, and it's
Yeah.
saying another great day of sunshine, 4 days in a row or whatever, letting
Right.
you know that what they're hearing is not what is actually going on.
Right. Yeah. And then.
But
so
yeah, you were right. It does. You do hear it.
You start to hear thunder. The radio, they start to talk about how the storm's coming. It's
Yep.
going to rain. Yeah.
Yep.
And so then they start cutting her open. They do the Y cut.
So and
it's
she's
really gross.
Blood comes out, which is weird.
Yeah,
when
they're not supposed to have blood coming out.
When she's been dead for 200 years.
Right.
Yeah, but even then, the Cox is like, listen, I've seen this before. It's super
it can
rare,
happen.
caused by pressure, but it's rare. So he sort of explains it away, which I'm sure you could do.
Yeah, and he's kind of running around investigating, like everything that he finds. He'll go get like a book off the shelf and immediately, figure out what. Oh yeah, I remember reading this in this book, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
And Emilio,
do I remember exactly what happened? No.
And Emilio Hirsch is like, I think something's a little weird, and the dad's like, no, it's impossible. It's just a body. We'll figure it out. It's right here. We'll get it.
Yeah. But I mean, he's been doing it longer. Like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, he's older.
I bought that. Yeah, the Cox knows what he's doing. Listen, ladies. Listen to the Cox.
You gotta trust the Cox. Always trust the Cox.
Yes, she said it clean. I can use that for everything now because no one was talking over it. Oh my God, I'm saying that to everyone I know.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, the biggest feminist I know said you got to trust the Cox. I'm leaving that in.
Am I the biggest feminist you know?
Yes, not by size, but yes.
Jesus.
I said not by size. You're not a big
now
person.
I'm thinking about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they start cutting her open, and what do they start finding? Oh, they look at her lungs, and they
The
realize
lungs are blackened.
that her lungs
Yeah.
are super black, and they're like, she could have smoked 10 packs a day, and it would never
for 30,
get this
for 30 years. And there's no way she's even 30.
Right.
Those tits ain't 30, baby. Those tits are not 30.
I mean, you never see them like
And isn't
standing
that,
up.
In
isn't
action.
that the real crime? Isn't that the real crime?
That is the real crime.
Thank you
Todd.
for admitting it.
Jennifer did promise a lot of nudity
I
to
did.
Todd.
There
And
was
there was
nudity
zero.
throughout.
There was zero usable nudity. I am sad lady.
Oh. Yeah, so they start cutting her open. What else do they find?
Stab wounds.
Stab wounds on her internal organs.
They more or less find out that she's been tortured.
Yes, she's been tortured, but there are no external
Injuries.
wounds. Like
Right.
they can't figure out how there's so much damage inside
And
her.
he says things like, it's like finding a bullet in the brain, but there's no gunshot. Right. So,
and they find in her stomach, I think, they find a piece of fabric with her tooth inside that had been
forced on her
pulled
throat.
out.
She had to swallow.
No, she had to swallow it, and it's got like some kind of old writing on it or something, and they can't figure it out. And they find like a paralyzing flower in her.
A paralyzing agent in the flower.
So yeah, they find out all this terrible shit, and they start writing it up on the board, and they were like, "Why would anybody do this?" Like,
And like her wrists and ankles are broken and all that shit.
Any one of these things would have killed her. Why? But she's still like, why would they want to do it? And so yeah, she has been tortured.
Yes,
and they wanted her to be tortured. So they're starting to think it's like some kind of sex trafficking thing, which is what I thought.
Sure, and that's when they look in her vagine. Oh yeah, and there's like cuts
is
and
that
stuff.
The
and
technical term.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say
the technical
vagina.
term is vajayjay.
Vajayjay, yeah. You do watch Grey's Anatomy, don't you?
Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
They're all up in this chick's guts.
Yeah.
And this time I mean it literally, not sexually.
Mm-hmm. And then they actually see, like, they open up her skin on her torso.
Oh, that's
and
much,
they find
much later.
all this writing. No, it's not. I wrote it down. They find all this writing inside her skin.
Gross.
Yeah, it's so gross. And that's when all the lights
Oh, shit. Yeah, so this is the end of the
This
autopsy
is
then.
when shit
Pretty
starts
much.
going down.
Yeah, the end of the autopsy.
this
Once
was
they
actually-
have completely cut her open.
Yeah. This is actually pretty funny because all the lights blow out, right? Fat Emil Hirsch.
Who has been saying, this is weird.
Yeah,
Let's
he's
get
like,
out of here."
I'm getting too young for this
and
shit.
the dad's like,
We
no,
gotta go.
we got to do this. This is our job. Like, we finish it.
Right.
Yeah.
He gave him the option to leave even then, I think, though.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah. He's like, you can leave. He like totally guilted him. He's like,
Yeah.
if you want to just destroy all of our
he
lives, you can
shoulda
leave.
left.
Didn't even
Shut
call
up.
his girlfriend. That was a mistake because of what happens later.
Yeah, we'll get there. Can we just go to this fucking movie? Anyway, so
What movie are we talking about?
I think Three Musketeers. No.
No.
Anyway.
You got to get it in every job, right?
Listen, ladies, I gotta get
These
it in
days.
every.
Todd's gotta
I
work
love
in
that
that
you
stuff
pick a movie that I love to do that with.
That's why I pick it. It's a movie that we love together.
Yeah.
Aw.
Do you remember we were shooting Franklin Sweetheart and we would watch The Three Musketeers
Yes.
while we were shooting that movie?
Yes.
Like during downtime?
Yes,
Anyway, greatest cast ever.
it was. Didn't you have sex with the lead?
Sorry, why now?
Oh, and Kiefer Sutherland?
Three Musketeers. Not our movie.
My bad.
I thought you were like, have you had sex with Kiefer Sutherland, sir?
I
was
mean-
He's not the lead.
I have had physical contact with Kiefer Sutherland. True story.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Woo.
I'll tell
He
you
was
that
one of my
story
first
later.
movie crushes ever. Lost Boys.
Dear
Stand By
God,
Me.
save the king.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Best
He's got the
line
raspy voice,
Yeah,
man.
he does.
Jack Bauer
So
voice.
good.
Oh, yeah.
He's a short motherfucker, man.
Can we just get through this fucking movie? All right, so all the lights blow out.
Yeah,
They fall to the ground. Emil Hirsch gets on his phone and uses his flashlight on the phone, shows that everyone that was in like the cooler, the
all
body
the drawers
cooler, are out.
Yeah.
And they're gone. There's just nobody there. And he shows the dad, he illuminates his cocks, his dad, with the flashlight. And the dad immediately pulls a Kevin Bacon from Tremors. We got to get the fuck out of here.
I laughed so
I
hard.
love that part.
Yeah.
Only good part of this movie, guys.
Yeah. In most movies, it would be in a situation, like this guy's in his actual basement, and he's like, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Right. Yeah, like this is where they should feel safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the turn when the dad starts to see that shit's going wrong too.
Well,
yeah. This is when freaky stuff starts
like
going down.
blatantly freaky stuff. Like there's no convincing yourself that it's not happening anymore.
Clearly.
So then they try to get to the office.
I think they go, well, the elevator's not working because the power's out. I think that's when they try and go to the storm door.
And they realize that the tree fell on it and they can't get out.
Or did
and all the other bodies,
That tree's been
except for
dead 10
Jane.
years.
All the other bodies are loose. So.
So they're basically, and they've got that shit cut open on the table. So so they go to the office and they're trying to call to get the cop to come rescue them
on a goddamn landline.
And then
where are the cell phones, boys?
Well,
they don't
he's
get
got
service.
cell phones.
Well, they were using
he
the
was
cell
walking
phones.
around trying to get service.
But,
they said,
okay, I
well,
missed that
we'll call
part.
in the office because they're in a basement, and it's like a tornado.
Well, and honestly, like there's some supernatural shit happening.
Yeah.
It probably would have worked.
Yeah, she had a cell blocker.
Yeah, definitely had a cell blocker on. So they go. That's when they go to the office.
She just interferes with the Wi-Fi, guys.
Right.
Is that why we had trouble watching this movie?
We had so much trouble watching this movie.
We did. I know. I started.
We almost
to get
abandoned
really
it
in
for
my head
another
about
movie.
it.
Jen's husband literally saved the day.
He did.
She's blushing.
They're having a hard time getting through on the landline too, and then we start to hear a bell. And at first you're like, "What the fuck?" And then they kind of draw it out, and you hear a bell, and you start to realize it's footsteps attached to this bell. And then Emil Hirsch.
Well, you knew it was footsteps because you saw the bell on the body,
right,
on his ankle.
Yeah,
you know what it is.
Back. Yeah. So they get down, and then you see the feet right in front of the door, and then the door starts shaking, and I loved it.
And they moved.
It didn't just go away, and we had to wait for another spooky thing. Like they went for it at this point,
Yeah, but then they moved the filing cabinet. It was a filing cabinet.
They moved the filing cabinet.
They moved that filing cabinet over.
They Friday
in front of
the
door.
13th did that door.
Well, no, Friday the 13th was ridiculous. I would definitely move the Friday. I would definitely move
like
the filing cabinet.
19 other filing cabinets against the door, but then like jumped through the windows.
Why are you standing up?
You were standing up like giving a presentation right now.
I know. I'm reading the room, man. I'm like Miss Maisel and everything.
I love
I do too.
her tits.
Jeez.
Wait, what
That
were you going
is
to say?
not what I thought you were going to say.
My bad. No, I love that show.
I would go home to those tits.
I mean, yeah, that's part of the show.
Yeah.
That is one of the best shows out right
It
now.
really is. Yeah. It was,
The Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon, guys. Check it out.
Yep, check it out. So then they're trying to get out. They're like, what the fuck is going on? Brian Cox goes into the bathroom, and then there's some kind of crazy guy in the one of the bodies in the bathroom, too.
Okay, so I hate horror movies, and this really scared me, but I thought it was well done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was really done.
Emil
really
Hirsch
scary.
is in the office. The Cox is in the bathroom. Emil Hirsch sees the
that's where they should
shadow.
stay.
Right. Emil Hirsch sees the shadow of a man.
And then
warns
pulls the
Brian
curtain
Cox.
back, and there's nobody there.
Well, Brian Cox moves it. Emil Hirsch is still sitting in the office, and there's nobody there. And then it shows Brian Cox's it shows Brian Cox in the bathroom from his son's perspective.
Yeah.
And then he
the
gets
guy's behind
yanked
it,
out of
snitched.
frame.
Yeah. And then Emil Hirsch goes and runs in, and then the door slowly opens to the office.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and he's banging on the bathroom door, and then you hear the door open, and he bangs on it, and it goes through. So, like the spirit or the body or whatever it was. Yeah, but you don't know.
Really know.
It doesn't matter.
I mean,
It doesn't matter because it's a shitty movie. They never explain it.
Wait,
but
at one point you were like, so they're magically gone now? And I was like, well, they were magically there. It doesn't matter.
Right.
They're all doing
I
the witch's
struggled with the
bidding.
rules of this
Yeah, so we
picture.
agree the rules of this are stupid as fuck.
No, the
Good.
rules are fuck you. I'm going to do whatever I want.
Burn
and I'm
it
going to
down.
fuck with you.
Burn it
that's
down.
the rules. It's like, that's why the rules to Hereditary don't make sense.
I need rules.
Yeah.
Me too. That's why I hated this movie.
Yeah, I know you guys need rules.
I need parameters.
Yeah, I know. It's called the patriarchy.
Brian Cox gets knocked around by this thing. Like
not
you
killed.
kind of hear it.
And he sees the eyes are gray.
Yes, he says the eyes are gray. They were her eyes.
Yes.
So we're starting to think
But
maybe
it wasn't
she's
her. It was another body. It was probably
right. It was a body. But
wasn't
I mean, I
Faceless
guess
Man.
the
But yeah.
implication
Ooh.
would be that she had taken possession of that body.
I mean,
I
in
sort of
theory, because we know the bodies are loose, it's basically the bodies fucking with everybody. Like, I don't think it's, I don't think it's...
Well, it does. I mean, they're like puppet bodies. She's just
I got the
causing
vibe
crazy
that,
shit.
I got the vibe that either she was in control of the bodies, or
she's in control of the bodies,
or they were like acolytes that she was controlling, but they still were like whatever. But it never explains it. But to me,
it doesn't matter. She's causing crazy shit to happen.
It definitely is her that is causing it. But to me, why wouldn't she just get up if she could control her body? So, like, I don't know. It's a really bad movie.
It's not a bad movie. It's awesome. And the first time I watched this, I was still thinking of her as the victim, and there was some outside force that had done all of this stuff, and I thought the outside force was what was doing all this shit. And then this is when you really start to think, yes.
She was the victim.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but she's causing this.
Don't victim blame.
That's what I'm saying.
What was she wearing when they tortured her, Jen?
Exactly.
What was she wearing?
Oh, we'll get to it.
Don't victim blame.
No. What I'm saying is, I thought this is when you start to realize that she's not the victim anymore. She's causing this stuff to happen.
You think this is sort of like a rape revenge movie on some level?
It's a witch
We
movie.
haven't even gotten to the whole genre of rape revenge with you yet, sir.
Oh, man.
I'm out.
You're not ready for that.
No.
I am not ready for that.
That's some year 3.
I wasn't ready for
I'm
this.
not
Year
ready
three
for that
shit.
because I got some shit to say about that too.
Yeah, no shit.
So yeah, they're in the hall. What do they do then? Do they go back?
Yeah, that's when they go. That's when they first go back into the autopsy room.
They go back into the autopsy room.
Yes, and they bar the door, I believe. Mm-hmm. They're starting to look for other clues, or they're trying to figure out what's going on. Because when they're in the office, Emile Hirsch is like, "This all started when she got
When we
here.
cut her open.
This all started when we cut her open. Something is going on with that body. We've got to find out what's going on with that body."
Yes.
And so they go in there, and he bars the door with like a mop or a broom
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
No, it's actually a metal
Puts it
pole.
through the handles.
Yeah, puts it through the handles and whatever.
Like so many mugs. Sorry.
Yeah. And then they start CSI Miamiing all over her
Yes, they're
body.
trying to figure out
Yeah.
what's going on so they can make it stop. They're trying to
Yes.
get Samara out of the well so they can fix everything.
Sure. But does it fix everything?
No.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. You're not supposed to help her. They start hearing footsteps in the hall again.
Yes.
Do they hear the bell or is he just looking out the window or something?
No, they hear the bell.
No,
and that's
because it's Stitch's lady.
no,
It's
they hear
Stitch-
the bell.
Okay. And the other
that's
thing,
why he goes to
have
the
we
door.
talked about the mirror? How sometimes you'll see things standing in the hallway and it's awesome. I loved that mirror.
Yeah, and we mentioned it before. And they do that a few times.
They do, and it's great.
effective.
And if you're a horror fan, the second you see that bell and the second you see that mirror, you're like, yes, something is going to happen with this, and it's going to be awesome. Did you think that when you saw that mirror? You're like,
yes.
Oh, there's something on the other side of the hallway.
I'm not a horror fan, and I knew they were going to do that because this movie is not good.
Oh, it's not bad.
Incorrect.
It was
It's not
very
bad.
scary, guy.
Very,
very
very
scary.
spooky.
I hated
There
this
were really
movie.
not very many dumb Todd jokes this time.
I was honestly
You did make a couple.
because for the first, and a lot of horror movies are like this. The first like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes are setting up for the scary, and the setup for this was so gross.
Yeah.
That I just couldn't even make jokes. I was like head in pillow, like I couldn't do it
Pretty
because it was so bad.
Yeah.
And then honestly, the only reason I didn't like this movie is because it was very scary and the screenplay was bad, and ultimately it just wasn't a convincing movie to me.
you didn't really believe.
Honestly,
she
it's
was a witch.
laughable. Like thinking back on the plot to me is very laughable.
Really?
Yeah. We can talk about it when we get to
Yeah,
it,
we
but
will.
yeah,
No,
it's
that's
real
okay.
laughable.
You're allowed to think that if you want to. I'm not going to be mad.
And I do.
Okay, so then they go back and they see he starts like trying to axe the door down because they're trying to get out. Is there a body or is there one of the bodies running around the autopsy room too?
No, there's not a body in the autopsy room, but they hear the bell and he's,
Well, aren't we coming up on the elevator?
Yeah,
Yes.
they can't get
Yeah.
out, so he axes the door. Then they see the corpse in front,
So that's
and
what
she's
it
like
is.
pulling all the stitches.
Well, who
yeah.
it was at first was the faceless guy.
Yeah.
And then,
with the bell. The faceless
with
guy's the bell guy.
So then they're running. They're trying to get the elevator. Then
well, because they get the door open and
they get
run
the door
to
open. They
elevator.
run to the elevator. The elevator's like somebody's already on it or something. I don't know. They can't get there. The only people in the house that are using this elevator can't get the elevator
Right.
to work. So then we start hearing the bell. We
Right.
start seeing through the mirror that this face dude is coming
The
around.
faceless
the corner.
dude.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
Facey McFace gone or
Facey
something?
McFaceless.
Yeah, so we start seeing him. So they get to the elevator and they're trying to get in. They're trying to get in.
Before
and-
the faceless man gets
and
there.
the Cox has got his axe. He's got his Otis ready.
Yeah, the Cox is using that Otis.
Yeah. He's just going to town on that Otis.
Clint. I'm going to start calling my penis the Otis.
So what happens? What happens next happens in a
sounded right.
lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
The accidental kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they finally
It's
get into
real
the
dumb.
elevator.
Yeah.
And
then the elevator door won't close all the way. So Brian Cox is standing at the ready with his Otis or axe in hand. And then when the faceless man comes up to them,
he just chops it out the
chops
elevator.
out the window. And then you realize
and then we hear a girlfriend making sounds.
Right. Then you realize that it wasn't the faceless man. It was the girlfriend, which was never explained. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
because they saw what
I think that he asked her to meet him back at later.
Yeah, because they were going to go to their midnight movie.
Sure.
And they already established that she could get down there on her own.
And they
went looking for them. Oh, okay. Well,
they weren't seeing reality.
Right. But the elevator didn't work, and there was no way in other than the storm door, and the storm door was blocked. So how did she get in?
Well, maybe she took the elevator down and it worked.
Oh,
for
the one
her
that didn't work?
because she's living in reality and they are not.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Maybe
But
she
yeah,
came down.
again,
while
this is another scene where I really struggle with the rules because we see the face.
There are no rules.
We see the faceless guy,
Yeah,
and then
so
I guess
dumb.
the faceless guy vanishes or was standing in front of the girl. Like it's not explained.
Nope.
No.
So yeah, this
I don't
sucks.
need it explained.
This sucks for this guy.
Yeah.
Had a girl
and
that
the
was
dad.
totally fine with his creepy ass job.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
was into it.
Was kind of
And
turned
then
on by
Dad
it.
murdered her.
Yeah, chops her with the axe.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, if you're going to walk around a morgue, you're probably going to get killed at some point.
I mean, she was asking for it, right?
Did you see what she was wearing?
That skirt, though.
I actually did say when she was looking at the body, I was like, yo, that skirt, man, she could get it.
You did, and she did get it.
She did get it, but what she got was an Otis, not my
Otis to the
Otis,
neck.
but an axe Otis.
Some
Yeah.
Otis decorated her neck.
Oh, yeah. Got all
So
over
this
that neck.
accidental kill of a friend or a girlfriend is just a typical cliche, like it's happened in a lot of Friday the 13th movies.
That does not surprise me.
I remember part 8, there was one where a guy lost his eyeglasses, and so he's like looking for Jason, and he shoots a friend in the fucking face.
Really?
The Strangers.
Wait, did he shoot him in the face?
Strangers?
And then
Strangers is a big one where he
He's the
shoots
faceless man
his
in this?
friend.
Oh,
What's
yeah,
that?
maybe that's the guy.
Yeah, he's the faceless man. That's where it comes from. That's where the faceless man
Are
came
we
from.
tying
Do
Yes.
we ever see
Jason Takes
Jason
Manhattan
and Jane Doe
to the
in the
Autopsy
same
of Jane
room?
Doe?
So yeah, this movie is just,
Todd,
it really bothered me that there were no rules.
Yeah. It sucks
It
when
bothered
there
me
are no
too.
rules.
Not as much as you.
It's
but
not that there are no rules.
No,
it's
it
that the
is.
rules keep changing.
That's true.
Okay,
and I
can I
give it
ask what the difference is between having no rules and the rules keep changing?
There's not really that much difference.
Or any at all?
Because here's what happens when the rules keep changing is you are operating under the assumption that there are rules and you are playing by the rules, and then all of a sudden you get stabbed in the back when you realize that the rules have changed and you didn't know. And you thought you were doing the right thing and you thought you were playing within the boundaries of these rules, and then all of a sudden you're fucked because the rules have changed and nobody told you.
Are we still talking about the movie?
But they
or-
still expected
that's just called bad writing.
Yeah,
That's
but that
called
was
the
a
patriarchy.
that was a very well done
Exactly.
monologue, though.
Yeah.
So then they go into the elevator,
Right.
and they have their conversation, and Brian Cox is like, "Yeah, that's how I felt when your mom died," and so that's when it's
And
like,
he's like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
"Yeah,
Mom was not stabbed by an axe.
no, mom was depressed, and Brian Cox didn't do anything about it, and so mom killed herself."
Did he do the autopsy?
He probably, well, I don't know. I don't think you're supposed
She's
to
probably
autopsy
still down
your
there
loved
somewhere.
ones. Yeah, she's been
She's
dead
been
for
dead,
10 years.
but exactly.
Woo. Yeah, so we find out that, and he still feels guilty about this, and he could have done something to save her, but he wasn't listening to her. He wasn't hearing. He wasn't seeing.
Well, she was a woman.
Just like a man,
Exactly.
Right.
not paying
Yes.
attention.
Right.
Yeah, and then when her cat gets sick and dies, there's nothing he can do about it, so he just puts it out of its misery.
Jen, I have a
It
question.
did look like there was nothing you could do about it.
And I feel like this would have made the movie far more interesting. Do you think it should have been a mother and a daughter?
No.
I feel like no, you
No.
don't. Okay, you
Not
think they
at
would have
all.
made? You think both of them would have
Because-
made it out alive? These two dipshits.
Yeah, probably. I don't think a mother and a daughter would have.
Really? I
No,
thought that
I don't
would
think
have made
they
a
would
much
have
more
been in this
interesting dynamic
situation.
than.
No,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think the witch would have fucked with a mother and a daughter.
Oh, excellent point.
Yeah.
Are you saying dudes can't be witches?
No,
Well, they're
dudes
not. They're
can be
warlocks.
witches, but witches want to fuck with men
Interesting.
because men are the ones that did all this shit.
Well, that's not historically
Not all
accurate,
men.
but all right. Well, no, I mean, that's not even historically accurate that women didn't
Todd.
torture
Well, that's
witches.
true.
So,
Todd.
yeah, but
Todd,
what?
watch a little movie called Hocus Pocus.
I've seen
get the
Hocus
back-
Pocus.
to get the background
My
on what
ex-girlfriend
the
who cheated
men-
on me loved that movie, so we watched it a few times.
Oh wow,
It's a good
Yeah,
movie.
I haven't seen it.
It's a good movie.
I wonder if we could slip that in as like a little,
Somebody
little Halloween
did.
special.
I'd do it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Haven't you never seen that? That's crazy.
Haven't
like
you
to-
never seen that?
Haven't
She
you
has
never seen
never seen Hocus
We're from the
Pocus.
South, guys.
That is.
Ain't you never seen it? Woo!
It's got that Betsy Midler in it.
Wow.
Betsy
She's the best.
I'm out.
yeah.
What the fuck are we even talking about, guys?
Oh yeah, okay. So they're like, if we can just figure out why this is all happening, if we can just find the reason, then maybe she'll stop.
So they're basically like, and
if we
that's
can just fix her, maybe she'll stop.
That's the solution for a lot of horror movies. If we can just investigate and figure out what she wants.
If we can get Samara out of the well, right?
If we can just fix this.
So that's their Samara out of the well moment.
Yeah.
And they run back to the autopsy room. They bar the door.
And it's real smoky, too, and they get, like, accosted by all the bodies, and that's when his glasses break.
Yeah. So, so the smoky... Well, okay, so it was the smoke from... Okay, do you think the cat had it out for him? Let me finish.
The cat
came
back.
Because he threw the cat in the incinerator. They incinerated the cat. The cat's ashes create the smoke, and then as they're walking through the smoke to get into the autopsy room, that's when Brian Cox gets slashed up.
Maybe the cat is an extension of the mother.
Or the cat was just mad. It was like, I totally could have made it through that stomach wound.
I got like
Why'd you
7
break
more
my
lives,
neck?
fucker.
I know. I had 7 lives left.
Burn them all up, you piece of shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they basically killed Jinx from Hocus Pocus.
The cat's revenge.
So they get back to the autopsy room.
Correction.
So anyway,
Binks, not Jinx.
So
we just had so many listeners email. Well, all 7 of our listeners email us.
So the cat,
the cat comes back.
So Brian
the very
Cox gets
next
slashed
day.
in the hallway. Eventually, he gets up and goes back in because they're not life-threatening. They are just torturing him like she was tortured.
Right.
Which is what they discover when they go back in there. But so they go back in the autopsy room.
Yes.
Right.
She wants them alive so that she can torture them. They go back in the autopsy room. They're like, just take her to the crematorium.
What's really going on here is we have no money for locations. So we're just going in circles.
No, what's going on is they're trapped.
Exactly. What Clint said.
Well, yeah, but because they
and
have
what
no
you
money.
said, they're trapped. Honestly,
They're trapped in a budget, Jen.
Where would they go?
I don't know, to a bigger studio to get more money and then have a budget.
Or something?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
they can't get out. That's the point. It's like the family at the beginning. They're trying to break out.
Well, if it were John McClane, Jennifer,
now he's
they
got
would
a machine
climb
gun. They would
up
have a
the
machine
elevator
gun.
shaft.
Yeah.
Or take that axe to the cellar door.
Yeah.
Just some ideas.
But
just some ideas.
I agree with you.
Right.
It's a low budget movie with a horrible script that made it into a movie.
Well, while this is going
horrible
on, I am just very disappointed that there are only 2 main actors in this movie. I needed a higher body count. Like, couldn't they have had a couple of nerdy assistants or something and had them get picked off? And then we get into the father-son stuff.
I didn't mind that there weren't as many people in this that died.
Yeah, I don't
but
care about that.
I just
Because you don't like the kills.
I don't, and there was plenty of scary shit. Like I at one point was laying down on the pod sofa, like with the pillow on me, like very uncomfortable. I hated this movie.
It was a spooky movie,
Yes.
and it did do well with the atmosphere and the execution of what was going on. I'll give it that.
I
just
also
needed
agree.
a couple of more
Yeah.
and either that or I need an extra 20 to 30 minutes to really, really feel
This movie
a
was
connection
plenty
between
long.
this father and son because, like, when they bit it, I didn't.
So let's get to how they
care.
bite
I
it.
didn't- yeah.
Let's
well,
get to how
okay,
they bite
so
it,
they
'cause that's
realize
coming up.
they can't get her out of that room.
Well,
so
because
they just
the door locks, and then
Right.
the son runs to the door and tries to get the door open,
shit's still
and
just
that's
going
when
crazy.
and that's when the Cox leans over to her face and is like,
No,
just save.
that's when he pours gasoline all over
Shit,
her
you're
and
right.
lights them on fire.
You're right, my bad.
And then that lights everything in the room on fire.
Yes.
And so they're trying to put the fire out, and then
I liked this effect. They used the fire extinguisher to put the fire out in the room.
Yeah.
Not her.
Right.
But as they put the fire out in the room, the fire on her starts to dissipate.
Yes, and
but
then-
they're not at all trying to set the fire, turn her off
Exactly.
a fire. She extinguishes it.
She extinguishes herself, and then we see that she's not burned at all.
Yes, absolutely.
And
yeah.
okay, here's one thing I love about this movie is as you see her face throughout the movie, she's slowly becoming more sinister, you know? And they do a lot of face to like camera, you know?
You got to say the line because I want to say it so bad.
What?
When I say, okay, I'll just recreate it because when we were watching the movie, I was like, man, she has the best resting bitch face.
Okay.
And then you said,
Resting witch face.
there you go. I didn't want to take it from you because you'd be like, quit stealing my lines.
Yeah.
And it was great.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
That's a
they-
new T-shirt idea.
Yeah.
Resting witch
Resting
face.
witch face.
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
That's when like Emile Hirsch, I think he honestly is trying to get out the door, and that's when the Cox gets right in her face.
Yeah, and I
it's like-
think we might have a couple of these instances mixed up, like when they go to the elevator, when they set people on fire. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. I apologize if we're doing this
Right,
a little
but
bit
we're
out of
hitting the
order.
key points.
Exactly.
But anyway,
Yeah, we're
Brian
getting there.
Cox leans into her face and is like, please don't hurt my son. Sort of take
Yeah.
me.
Oh, they
Yeah,
cut
yeah,
open
yeah,
her
yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
And they realize that
Yes.
she's still alive.
Yes.
too.
That's true. That's
Like,
true.
how can
And
she
he's
still be
discovered at
alive?
this point that
Yeah.
he is absorbing the same. He's basically absorbing her injuries. Remember when he made
Yeah.
that connection? Like right when
Yes.
he was.
Yes,
this was
he
right
is.
before he
Oh
said
yeah,
something
that she
to her.
wants him to feel it.
To
She wants
feel
them
it,
to feel
but-
it because they find out they fold the thing in half and they find this Bible verse
Yeah,
that
Leviticus
says
27.
she is a witch, and that's
Yeah.
when they're like, oh, okay.
Well, it's like a whole thing.
Well, that's why.
the verse isn't just she is a witch.
right. Oh
But
yeah,
yeah.
there's an
But-
actual verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the verse? Todd?
Leviticus 27.
And what is that verse?
I don't fucking know. Leviticus is all about like Old Testament
Yeah, like the
punishments for
rules and
things,
stuff.
right? Like don't eat fucking
Pork.
lobsters or pork, or don't
Not-
touch
definitely not on
don't
that
touch
porch.
pig on Sundays or whatever. Anyway, all that stuff. But one of the things in Leviticus is about witches, and if they are a witch, you have to kill them.
Yeah.
Right. So that's
The
what
their blood is on their own head.
Right. So that is that's what they find
And
out.
so and then it's.
I much prefer the sequel, Deuteronomy. That's
You just like
me.
to say
Deuteronomy
Deuteronomy.
come before.
Is that your favorite of the Pentateuch?
Deuteronomy.
The Pentateuch.
Pentateuch.
Oh, Pentateuch sounds like you're doing something in the bathroom,
I know.
ladies.
It's like an upper decker variation.
Yeah. Do you ever dropped an upper decker? Can I tell you guys a real story real
Girls
quick
don't
that's
do
real
that.
gross? When I was in college, we had co-ed dorms, and it was separated by floors, so it was like,
I thought you didn't go to college.
what?
I did not know you were educated either.
So we went to
How'd you get into college? We went to the same dumbass high school.
True. We would go up to the girls' floor above us. Our revenge was going up to their dorm, and we would lift the seat up, and then we would climb on top of the stall, throw our legs over the stall, and try and shit down into the toilet. So we would be, I don't know, how high is a stall above the toilet?
Ladies.
Like
he
8.
is single.
It's probably like 5 feet above the
Yeah.
toilet. And we sometimes we'd get it in there, sometimes we wouldn't, and then we would just leave.
And did it work? Did they go out with you after that?
Actually, some of them did.
Did they know?
No.
We had a girl in our stairwell that would just vomit in the same corner every day.
What?
It took forever to
least-
figure out who it was.
At least it was the same corner.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was. It was the same corner, and finally her roommate came for it. She had bulimia, but yeah, she
Oh,
would
that's
puke in
so
the same corner.
sad.
Yeah,
Well, that's just not.
you're talking about body fluids
this
in
is
dorms.
Well, this is depressing.
Yeah.
Body fluids or body solids?
I mean,
Mine was body solids.
Gross.
Unless you
it was
eat a lot of
enchilada
Taco
night.
Bell. Yeah.
In the
I'm still cutting this out, even though that was
fuck
funny.
is happening
All right, so
over here?
yeah.
what the
so-
fuck movie are we talking about, guys?
We're talking about, okay, then what happens? Oh, yeah, okay, so they figure out that she wants to hurt them out of revenge. This is her revenge.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
so
then that's when the Cox gets right in her face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
like,
take
take me-
me. instead of him.
Emil Hirsch is
You
occupied.
so want to say Amelia.
I
know
do,
you do.
I really
He's at the
do.
door. He's at the door trying to
Yeah.
figure a way out.
And
then-
she does that so she can get alone with the Cox. He's looking at her and he's like, just don't hurt him. Take it, like, let me take all of it. I'll give you your revenge as long as you don't hurt my son. And then it's like child's play, and his wrists break and like his ankles break, and Clint started to get kind of giddy.
as he
when smoke comes out of his
absorbs.
mouth because
Yeah,
his lungs
yeah.
are catching
Yeah.
on fire.
Tongue
But he
gets
really is
ripped out.
absorbing her injuries because she starts healing
Yeah, she
from her
does.
injuries
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the smoke comes out, and like you can see, and his eyes start to go a little gray too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do go full gray. I mean, they go gray.
Yeah, and hers clear. Yeah, and so then he's looking at the scalpel, and
on the ground.
yeah,
And by he, you mean Brian Cox.
Brian
And
Cox,
then-
he's reaching for it. He just
of
wants
course,
to die
Emilio-
because it's just
Emilio,
way
now I'm
too
saying
much.
it.
And
Fuck.
no, gotcha.
Yeah, Emil Hirsch grabs the scalpel and kills his dad.
Yeah, because nobody
Right.
could ever live with that amount of pain, right?
Honestly, I really think it's
Put
just
him out of
revenge
his
for
misery.
the Cox killing his girlfriend.
Well, it could be.
Yeah, he did not know his dad was hurting. He was just finding
Yes,
the
he
right
did.
time. No, he was just finding the right time to kill his. Of course,
Oh
he did.
yeah,
I was making
it was all his master
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He just wanted to take over. He wanted to get his full share of the corners.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my only girlfriend ever, Dad.
Yeah.
I'll never get laid again now.
Yes.
And then everything clears up and it's happy and everything's fine. And the radio turns back through static to normal radio time.
Does it?
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, now
Oh.
I'm sad, but I'm going to
Yeah.
get out of here because everything's back to normal because we got Samara out of the well now. Things are returning. And so he starts hearing banging and the cops have come and they're going to cut the tree that's on the door. So he goes up.
Well,
the
they say they've cut the tree on the door, so he
Yeah.
runs up
He
there.
runs up the spirally staircase. They're like, let me in, or open up. And then we start to hear him say the lyrics of the song
Yeah,
that
open up,
she's
open
been
up.
playing the whole time. Let the sunshine in.
Well, and then he starts to sing it. And
He
then
does.
Then, well, I mean, honestly, it's just her, but it sounds like the cop from the very beginning who brought her body.
It
in.
does, yeah.
And
Kruger
he
cop.
starts to sing the song, and that's when Emil Hirsch is like, "Oh my god!"
Fuck yeah! And he looks around, and I think he hears a bell.
He starts to hear the bell.
And if you note, I was looking at this. His eyes get kind of fogged.
Oh, do that? I didn't
They
see that.
do get.
Fair enough.
It's hard to tell, but you cannot see his eyes. They
Do you
are
think you're
yeah, I couldn't
projecting
tell
it?
it either.
Maybe.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you can't really see his eyes. And I
You
thought that was
can't.
just a
I
lighting
couldn't see
issue, but
Brian
you're right.
Cox's eyes either when
Well,
you
yeah,
said that
'cause
they
he's
turned.
dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, when that happened.
Yeah. I don't know if that was intentional, but I took it as
Okay.
intentional. And
You
it
took what as
had-
intentional?
That you couldn't see his eyes, that his eyes
that
may
may
have
be.
been
That may be,
glassy.
yeah.
So, then Brian Cox is right behind him, and he falls over
Yeah,
the
because Brian
banister.
Cox is now the bell.
Right,
Which doesn't make any
exactly.
sense because he doesn't have the bell on. That's the faceless guy.
You know, who cares?
Yeah, because there are no rules in this movie
Plus-
because it's just a scare factory and it's not made to make sense. It's a horrible movie. I'm
No,
glad
it's
you
not
agree.
a horrible movie.
No, you said yeah. I'm editing it there. That's the edit point.
No, it's an awesome movie, but it sucks. That situation sucks.
So he dies. He falls
dies.
a story and dies.
Yeah, well, maybe he lands on something. I don't know. He dies.
Did he land on his neck? He'd be fine.
I think so.
He'd be like, that knocked the wind out of me, Dad.
Oh, and now I'm going to get back up and let the sun
Unless a
shine in.
graboid got him, he'd be fine.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Those tremors, though.
That tremor, baby.
Yeah. So then then he's dead. And then we cut to the next day or later on when Kruger Cop shows up and
Kruger Cop, they look
think he
nothing alike.
I think he looks like-
looks nothing like the teacher from
False.
Urban
well,
Legend.
okay, do
False.
either of you have a clever nickname for him?
No.
No, so fuck you. I'm going to call him Kruger Cop.
Let's call him Stalker Channing.
Stalker Channing. Oh, I love her. Not Abby
Me too.
Bartlett.
Me too, I know. Yeah.
I love her.
Emil is
Yeah.
dead.
And it's sunny. There's been no rain. And they find the exact same scene that they found at the beginning. Like people
More or
trying
less,
to break
yeah.
out, but they've all been killed. We don't see any of Brian Cox's injuries other than the scalpel.
Yeah.
So it just looks like they all killed each other. And
Yeah.
nothing else is wrong. She is completely healed. So she's just there.
She just looks like exactly the way she did when he wheeled her in. The cop
does.
being he, yeah.
Yes. But I think he knows something's up. He's like, just get her out.
Oh, and he's
of
like,
my-
get her out of my county.
Right. I don't want this. I don't want this anymore.
Yeah. I'm out.
And so then he gets on the ambulance and
Did you say ambulance?
ambulance.
The ambulance.
Ambulance.
You're gonna-
Say it right.
ambulance. She boards the ambulance
There you go.
without a.
I'm leaving all of this in.
Oh, gotta knock me down a peg.
Yeah, you've been too funny recently.
Yeah, and so then the
I
guy.
close my eyes until it passes.
Yeah, that's what we all do. That's what women do.
Jesus.
What the fuck are we talking about? That's what this movie is about.
Well,
I was
now I
talking
never
about you
want to have
two
sex
ranting,
again.
but you're talking about something.
Yeah, I know,
yeah,
right?
this movie is about the patriarchy, guys.
Oh my God.
This movie is a giant metaphor for
Clint,
it.
how
I'm
you doing,
serious.
man? How was your date last night?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
This
nice.
is why you're
Had a good
single.
day. Happy endings or no? Was it-
We'll talk later.
Seriously, I'm going to try to talk about this and not get like super angry and upset.
Are we done talking about the movie? Let's
Yeah.
talk about the movie first,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, they're in the ambulance.
Nailed
Approval?
it.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Validation.
Nailed it.
Sweet.
You don't need
I'm
it, but you
carrying
got
on.
You don't need it, but you got it.
Oh, thanks, Todd.
We're
So then
cutting it, Clint,
the
don't worry.
radio starts playing the song.
Yes.
And we see her toe, and we see her toe move in the bell. And it's
Yeah, the
gonna-
bell that's not on her foot rings.
Yeah.
The bell that's nowhere, like not even in the fucking car with them.
Right.
You hear the bell ring because this movie's ridiculous and there are no rules.
She can control the bell.
She can.
And she can also control the radio. So,
So-
whatever the fuck.
Every
So
time a
dumb.
witch
Ever
gets away.
the-
Every time a bell rings, a witch toes
gets her
move.
wings.
Can we
Yeah.
just have a movie where they control the... this happens a lot in horror movies where they control the radio. Can't we just have something like Chumbawamba? Like something just
I get
really... something really 90s.
I'm sure there are probably some people that watched this movie and got a Chumbawamba with all that nudity.
What do you think about their music
It's not
selection?
good
and,
nudity. It's not usable nudity. I hated this movie. This is like the worst thing for me because Hereditary made sense to me. There were rules in Hereditary, and when things were revealed, everything made sense. This scared the fuck. Yes.
Okay.
This scared the fuck out of me, and no rules, and
It made
nothing
no
made
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
This felt like I just want to scare people. I'm going to write a shitty screenplay and get it greenlit.
Guys, how much do you think this movie cost to make?
20 billion.
It got really cheap at the end, man.
Yeah, it
Like
did. So
yeah.
how much was it?
$6 million.
Okay.
Cost $6 million.
Yeah,
It-
Emilio
Emilio!
Hirsch's
Just scream it, get it
fault.
out.
Emilio!
There you go.
Flying V!
Okay, so I'll say this. That makes sense. It's a one location movie, but
Right.
it still looked good. Like it was
did
shot
look good.
well.
I
It
thought
looked
it
good
went
for
really
$6
well.
million.
I'm not
Yeah.
mad at the way
that's
it
very
looked.
It
low
was
budget.
very
Yeah.
effective, I
Yeah.
think.
It only opened in New York and LA. It made just over $10,000.
So it did actually have a
What?
theatrical run because I was just going to sneak this
well,
one in.
okay, but it did have a theatrical release overseas, and it made about $6 million.
Really? Well, it was filmed in England.
Huh?
It was filmed in England.
Was it?
So that would
okay.
make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy is
just
Norwegian.
shy of 6 is what it made. So it basically, like with streaming, it broke. I'm sure they made a little bit of a.
Did you know this was a
profit.
script from The Blacklist?
I didn't.
What is the Blacklist?
I love the Blacklist.
The Blacklist is an annual list compiled by, a website called The Blacklist.
All right, so the Blacklist is where movie makers find great screenplays.
Yeah, okay, so this guy had directed Troll Hunter, which is a found footage.
What?
And he wanted to prove that he could do more than that. Because Troll Hunter, I haven't seen it, but apparently it's really good, and he got a lot of high praise for it. And so he just took the script from the Blacklist, which is a mystery list where screenplays go to get made into movies.
It's a website. You can submit, like you've submitted
It's
screenplays
public
to the
every year.
Blacklist.
Yeah.
Oh, so
you
it's
can
like a
submit
Craigslist
screenplays
for
to it. Yeah,
screenplays?
It's just what Hollywood considers the best unproduced scripts of the year. But even those screenplays are normally written by well-known writers or actors.
Yeah.
Like there aren't that many unknown people that get on there.
Well, I don't know who wrote this script,
Okay.
but I love this person.
Well, I do know
movie.
that the director just got hired to write Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark,
Oh, yes, I love those books.
which
Sorry,
Del
that sounds
Toro
so weird.
is producing.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm iffy
that's
on
exciting.
his aesthetic. I don't always love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I
a
did
little
love
dark.
I did love those books.
He
too,
might have Jessica Chastain in it though, because he does like her, and he's used her
I
before.
do love
Hey,
Jessica
Yeah.
Chastain.
So I fucking love this
Chapter
movie.
2, you're gonna have to go.
Yeah, you have to go
Chastain,
see
man.
chapter 1 too.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
We'll watch that
For sure.
So this movie is just, I watched it. I loved it. I think it's awesome. I'm not
Can I ask
surprised that
and
you guys
I'm gonna
don't
ask
like
you,
it.
I'm going to ask you this seriously. So just the fact that nothing makes sense and they don't explain anything, that doesn't bother you?
No, because that
Yeah,
is
it
the
bothers
world that
me. I'm
women
with Todd
live
on that
in.
one.
That's true for some, sure.
Yeah. Now, look, I'm probably going to get a little angry in a minute. I just want everyone to know that you guys are great. Todd and Clint are awesome. We will take you with us when we burn everything down.
Oh, good.
I'm sure most of our listeners are great too, but just listen. So if you look at this movie and you see it from, like, she's got all of these internal injuries, can't see them from the outside. So everything looks fine, because I've told you guys about this too. So what the patriarchy is that means that Todd just inhaled real big, and I just really shamed him into not exhaling. And now he's afraid to have any kind of reaction.
No, I'm honestly grateful that you're laughing, because then I can exhale out with laugh. Because like I just inhaled like for 30 seconds.
He prepared for this giant sigh, and I caught it and I shut it down.
Oh my God.
No.
But the funniest part of that was I inhaled, you looked at me, and then I just held my breath until you started laughing so I could
Just
exhale.
like Jane Doe did. So what makes a woman powerful in the patriarchy is either making herself more like a man, so taking away her feminine qualities, or making herself pleasing to a man by appearance or action. So what happens is
I
women...
would say in life, this chick probably is very hot. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. But so the way that you make yourself pleasing to men is all of these insults and all of these things that women have to deal with every fucking day. We just internalize it and we suck it in and we don't let it show, and we try to make ourselves pleasing to men. And men are like, I don't see any problem. Everything looks fine to me, so surely
Everything's
there's no
great.
problem.
Yeah, from our perspective, we just see a bunch of hot ladies.
Exactly, until a witch,
great.
until a witch kills you all.
Well, a witch isn't going to kill me.
Well, maybe not yet.
Because witches don't exist, and if they did, I wouldn't be one.
You wouldn't be one?
That's a line from fucking Sherlock. That's just
Todd is a
fantastic.
final girl. You know this.
Todd is not.
Honestly, I would be a final girl because I am single, ladies, and I hate horror movies. And you call me a girl all the time for hating horror movies, Clint.
Yeah, which does not feminize you to hate horror movies. But anyways, yeah.
Wow.
So what?
Wow. apparently, Jen's like, you're not in the club. Stop trying to pretend you're in the club.
No, I'm just saying men need to feel feelings. So anyways,
Oh, I feel feels.
she's internalizing all of these, and I love that there's all of these emotional, it just mirrors how all the bullshit that women put up with all the time, and we can't let it show, and when we do, there's something wrong, and men have to just try to fix everything and look for the bullet hole and try to figure out what the fuck is wrong so they can fix it, and they won't just listen to women and hear them say, hey, this shit, we don't like this. Even if you can't see wounds, that kind of shit leaves wounds on the inside, and it sucks. And it's not until they start to cut her open and actually fucking pull apart her body that all the shit starts to come down, and she's trying to stop them because that's re-victimizing her. and it makes it worse every time you fucking have to do it. And she keeps telling her story over and over and over and over again and just punishing all the men around, which is what happens when you have all of these fucking internal injuries. And that's how the patriarchy hurts men too.
I'll just say this. I don't disagree with you so much. You just sound like you want to murder everyone.
You just sound like you want to kill all.
I
men.
don't want, okay, well, let's leave this in because I really don't want to kill everyone. What I want men to know is that this shit is real and that you need to listen to women's feelings. So,
You know, Jen, one thing I noticed is that all of her wounds were on the inside.
yeah, I wonder why that is. Yeah.
Well, probably because I love how now I'm just explaining the patriarchy.
Right, to me, this is how I think you meant to say it, right?
So let me just explain this.
What, and I also see this as like I see the adult and the second generation, and I see he's uncomfortable with the way he's examining this body, and he's pulling everything apart, and he's looking for logic.
Yeah,
and
he wanted to leave way earlier.
Picking up on the clues that she's giving that this is an uncomfortable situation.
Sure.
And I see that kind of as what's happening in our society right now is the older generation is stuck in their way, and they don't necessarily want to
Right.
break out of it because that's the way they've always known. And he doesn't want to be a part of that. He's trying to listen. He's trying to be responsible. He's trying to save them. He doesn't want to follow the dad. And that's why I don't think it would be a mother and a daughter, because I don't think she is mad at women. I think she's mad at the men who've done all this shit to her.
So how was your date last night, Clint? I don't disagree with you. I do want to point out, and I'm only saying this because it's funny, during your explanation of why this is a patriarchy movie or whatever, you were walking around. You were like getting up and sitting down. Like you were really into it. Like,
yeah,
it was fun to watch.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so as a
just have
man,
my little
I
meltdown?
appreciate your performance of that for us.
Mm-hmm. Clint, would you watch this movie again?
Probably. Yeah, I think I would. I mean, there are a lot of things that I didn't catch, and I
Watch it with your feminism glasses on next time.
I
okay.
would.
I mean, I watched. I really, really like the atmosphere.
I do think it's
sometimes
very
go down
scary.
that. It's one of those movies that, like, and this plays to Todd's points. I go down that rabbit hole of like, how would I have done this movie? How would I have written it? That's a deep rabbit hole to go down. But no, I'd watch it again.
Yeah. I would. I definitely would. This is the second time I watched it. I made you two watch it because I love it.
Yeah, it was real
and I'm
bad.
trying to
I
help
hated
you.
it. It was real scary. Like
It was.
and
It was really scary.
Let's get into
scary
the,
scale.
Let's get into the scary scale.
yeah.
What is the scary scale?
Scary scale is we rank how scary we think the movie is. It is not about the quality of the movie. It's how scared we feel. And we're not.
Today.
Yeah, today. We're not going back and saying, I feel like I'm comparing it to, I was more scared in this movie than that movie. Okay, so it's a scale from 1 to 10. Our example of a 1 is Ghostbusters. And our example of a 10 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So we try to put it somewhere on that scale.
Right.
So Todd, where would you scary scale this?
I would put it at a 9, and let me explain why I put it at a 9. For me, I haven't seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Of course, I've seen Ghostbusters, but my scariest movie right now is Hereditary, and I felt like that was much scarier than this, but this had much more gore. And I could sit through, I mean, during Hereditary, I stood up and yelled, fuck, at the screen at one point. So that to me is scarier than what I did here. This just made me very uncomfortable because of the autopsy scenes were gross. And then there were some jump scares that got me. But honestly, I hated the beginning of this movie more than I hated the end of it. I know, and that's surprising because the end of it is forced exposition while they just make up why she's doing this to them, and we get no confirmation of that, and then it's over. And I hated the beginning worse than that.
Yeah, I'd probably give it an 8, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's very scary. I think it's
Today
very
watching
effective.
it, I mean, you've seen this before, clearly.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is my second time seeing it. The first time I think I was really scared.
Yeah.
And the second time, man, I'm still giving it an 8, but man, I started to get so excited through it when she starts to become more and more evil.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, I was wondering if I was
the movie,
like, freaking you guys
the movie
out
does
or
go to
something.
a new level.
It
for sure.
does, yeah, and you start to see her become more sinister and more powerful, and I was like, fuck yeah, man. Break all the rules. I don't care because, burn it down.
Right.
Yeah, so, but I loved this movie. But I'm going to give it an 8 on my scary scale. Clint, what do you think?
I give it a 7.
7?
Yeah, very spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Effective, too. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what this number
Did you like
is.
the screenplay, Clint?
I did not like this.
I don't
Okay,
think you
good.
guys liked the screenplay.
It
I
was
liked it.
So bad. I mean,
it was that bad.
and I don't have... Clint
I
went to
didn't think
school
it was
for this.
awful like Todd. Yeah. All right.
Clint went to school for this. So that's the reason I asked you, because you are, to
right.
me, the closest expert I know. And then I don't know anyone else who's
very
written
sad.
screenplays. You've won awards.
Right.
motherfucker. So, like,
Okay, all right.
it's fine. So, like,
Yeah.
whatever. But, yeah, so I would trust your judgment over mine in that because you went to school for it and you've had some successful stuff. So I haven't.
Sure. I mean, look, I talk a lot of shit. I really shouldn't tackle it from a standpoint of, oh, they were trapped by budget and it forced them to, like, I'm sure that they wrote it to be an isolated picture. I just have a lot of problems with no rules.
Yeah.
You can just pull whatever the fuck you want out of your ass.
Yeah.
But
I think there's a purpose for that here.
I think you see it that way.
Yeah, I do. I think the fact that
those
there's
two guys were thinking about. I just think that gives them too much credit.
No, and actually, I've read some interviews with them, and they were like, "No, that's not. We didn't intend to make a feminist movie, but that's what happened, and we leaned into it."
Yeah, and okay, all right.
So it becomes intentional. Yeah, because I mean, the rules say that once they kill Brian Cox, then everything should be happy. But like, fuck you. That's not how it turns out. You know?
Yeah.
Like lots of rules say lots of things should happen that don't happen.
And I wish that would have been more of the ultimate sacrifice, but it's like Emil Hirsch dies like 5 minutes later, and I'm like, oh well, that was for nothing. That's cool.
Yeah.
I just didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about these two people. Again, love the atmosphere.
I didn't care about them. I cared about her.
Okay, yeah, I didn't care about her either. She's a corpse. I didn't get to know her at all.
Yeah.
Those are my issues with the.
I'll say this: I think feeling bad for her and liking her as a character are two different things. Like I felt bad for what happened to her 200 years ago, or whenever the Salem witch trials were, but I didn't care whether she died or died.
If we
she
had
was already
maybe
dead.
gotten some sort of flashback, something
Yeah.
to make us care about her. But it's a corpse.
I don't need a flashback.
Or not an
I know
actual
because
corpse.
you
She's
see it as a
still alive,
patriarchy
but-
movie.
I do, yeah. And I think like there's for as much nudity as there is in this movie, there is no male gaze in this movie. Like when you see her, you see her face, and that allows us to connect with her. And slowly through the movie, you're connecting with the more sinister version.
I am all about nudity in movies. I'm very pro nudity. I don't like nudity like this. It's not that I dislike nudity like this. It's whatever. Like this nudity doesn't count for me.
Yeah, I'm sure
nudity.
she probably wouldn't enjoy this kind of nudity either.
Oh no,
if
she would
were
much
alive.
rather be naked in front of me than dead naked in front of me.
Probably.
Yeah,
because one version is alive and the other one is not.
I mean, let's be clear. She still wouldn't want me there if she was naked. All right, guys. So that wraps up the movie. So let's do this. Let's. If you guys want to reach out to us on social, we are at Horror Virgin on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So Jenn Ferratu is Jenn's. I am Todd J. Awesome. Clint
is on Angel Fire.
Angel Fire blog, The Male Gaze. Check it out.
Fanfic.
I really hope someone has Googled Angel Fire blog, The Male Gaze.
Or someone actually created that page.
Funny. Oh my God. That would be hilarious. Anyway, and guys, remember to attack Jared Leto's his
Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just his
because
eyes
I
are a little
heard
too
this
close
weird
together.
thing about his eyes.
Yeah, they're a little too close together. He had
Yeah.
surgery to fix it, but a little too close together.
Yeah.
So make sure you're following us on social. Make sure you rate and review the podcast if you enjoy the podcast. That way it helps other people find us, but also you can win a pretty swanky ass mug.
Yep. It's got our logo and our full text logo on it.
Yes. And we are a member of the Modern Horrors Podcast Network, so if you guys don't know who they are, check them out. Modern Horrors on the socials, and of course, the Modern Horrors feed is where you can find all the podcasts, including ours.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to our podcast from their feed, if you subscribe to our feed, you'll get it Monday. You'll get it theirs on Wednesday. So if you want to get it immediately, subscribe to our channel, because that's where the good shit happens.
Yep.
So what are you going to be watching next week?
I'm really excited about this because one, it's another Stephen King adaptation, and two, it's another lady movie. We are watching Carrie.
You're going to watch the shitty remake.
No, bite your tongue, Clint.
Just
bite your
kidding.
tongue off like the Autopsy of Jane
Yeah.
Doe. I know the famous imagery from it. Her in a prom dress or something covered in blood.
With the pig's blood. Yeah.
Oh, is it pig's blood?
There's
Spoiler
lots of
alert.
blood in that movie.
And how that happens,
Yeah.
stay tuned.
I mean, I don't know.
Goodness.
So we're gonna watch that. Make sure you watch it
Carrie.
before.
Yeah, watch it before. Because we're just going to spoil the shit out of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and read the book. I might try to read along. I've read this book like probably 10 times. So
Then why read it again?
because it's so good.
Disagree.
I love it. It's
All right.
in my top 10. Anyways, so Carrie, the De Palma version.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that riff.
Does that mean the original?
Yeah, that's the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's gonna be it from us.
Yeah, that's